So hello everyone. Today we will be doing nutrition in animals. So before I get into teaching nutrition in animals, let me first introduce you to Swiflearn. So Swiflearn is an online class, and it is a person. We have personalized batch for a maximum of 6 students. We have a dedicated academic mentor team to track and work students' progress. And also we cover the syllabus as per the school exam schedule. Also we do handle custom quiz. And some of our key features include we also provide detailed progress reports, and also Swiflearn academic test series are conducted. Before we go ahead in studying nutrition in animals, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and also click the bell icon so that you never miss any update. Yeah, so moving on to nutrition in animals. These are some of the points that we are going to be covering today. We are going to learn what is digestion in humans, how the process of digestion happens in humans. We'll also be discussing the digestive process in grass-eating animals such as cows. And also we will be discussing the digestion in amoeba, which is a unicellular organism. So today we are going to be covering basically the process of digestion in humans, in grass-eating animals, and in amoeba. So these are the things that we are going to be covering today. And also, if you do have any kind of doubt, please do send me in the comment section. I will definitely be reading your comments and clearing your doubts. Okay. So if you have any doubts, do send me in the comment section. So now with this, let us go ahead. Yeah, so in the previous class, we studied about animal nutrition, right? We studied about autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrients. Basically, autotrophic nutrition is when the organism synthesizes its own food, such as like green plants. They synthesize their own food by a process called as photosynthesis. And moving on to heterotrophic nutrition, which is another type of nutrition. In heterotrophic nutrition, the animals, they depend on other organisms for their food. Okay, so basically nutrition is divided into two. You have autotrophic nutrition and you have heterotrophic nutrition. Under autotrophic is when the plants, like the organisms that synthesize their own food. Examples are green plants, and green plants synthesize their food by a process called as photosynthesis. And coming to heterotrophs, heterotrophs are those organisms that do not make their own food, like they don't have the ability to make their own food. Examples are humans. Right, we cannot make our own food. We depend on other organisms for our food, like plants and animals. So we consume plant products and animal products. And not only that, not only humans, other examples include animals like tigers, right? Herbivores depend on plants for their food, right? Carnivores, again, they depend on other animals for their food. So all these come under heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, then we also discuss the need for nutrition. Why do we need nutrition? To keep us healthy and give us the energy to grow, right? We discussed about nutrients. What are the different kinds of nutrients? You have carbohydrates, you have proteins, you have fats, you have minerals, vitamins, right? We eat food so that we get all these types of nutrients. Yeah, and different nutrients have different functions in our body. Like carbohydrates will give us energy, fats will also give us energy, proteins are basically for growth and repair and body building of our body, right? And vitamins and minerals are required for various functioning of our body. Apart from these, you also require water, drinking a lot of water to keep yourself healthy. And also roughages like fibers are required, and they are not considered to be nutrients, but you need roughages so that they form the bulk for the excretory products. Okay, and also we discussed about the various digestive organs in our body, right? And also the types of teeth and their functions. So these are the topics that we discussed in the previous slides. And if you want, the video is already available in our channel. You can, if you have any doubts regarding these topics, you can go to that video and you can check it out. Okay, so moving forward, now sometimes when you are in very hurry, you eat, when you are eating very fast, you must have noticed that sometimes you have hiccups and cough, or you feel like a choking sensation happens, right? So why does that happen? Why is it that when you eat fast you feel like coughing, or you get hiccups, or you feel choked? Why does that happen? See, that happens basically, we have two pipes, right? We have a food pipe and we have a wind pipe, right? Food pipe takes the food down from the mouth to the stomach. That is the function of your food pipe. It takes food that we eat with your mouth, it goes to your stomach with the food pipe. And the windpipe takes basically the air that you inhale in, it takes it to the lungs, right? So now in some cases, what happens is when you're eating in a hurry, there are chances that the food enters into the windpipe instead of the food pipe. Okay, so this blocks the passage of air, and we feel cough and hiccups, and we feel a kind of choked sensation, because the food that ideally that had to enter into the food pipe, instead of entering into the food pipe, it has now entered into the wind pipe. Clear? So moving forward, sometimes looking at some delicious food, you must have noticed that your mouth starts watering. Yeah, sometimes when you feel now, whichever is your favorite food, in some cases, when you see your favorite food, your mouth starts watering, right? Like if you see like samosa, hot samosa, or hot jalebis, or if you love to eat pizzas or burgers, if you see them, your mouth starts watering. Do you know why does that happen? Well, it happens because your salivary glands starts excreting saliva. Okay, so it is the saliva that forms the fluid in your mouth. Okay, so saliva is secreted by the salivary glands, and salivary glands is present in your buccal cavity somewhere over here. Okay, so it gets mixed with food and it makes it easier to break down the complex food starch. Like when you eat food, in the previous live we discussed that food has carbohydrates, proteins, fats, right? So carbohydrates digestion happens by the salivary amylase. The enzyme name is salivary amylase, which is present in saliva. Okay, so breakdown of starch or complex, starch molecules into simple sugars like glucose, fructose, lactose, all this happens by your with the help of your salivary amylase, which is present inside your saliva. So this is a function of saliva. So what is the function of saliva? It is the breakdown of carbohydrates. So breakdown of carbohydrates starts from your mouth itself. Clear? Because saliva is secreted to the mouth. And which is the enzyme responsible for it? The enzyme name is salivary amylase. Now coming to the next part of the digestive system. So after your buccal cavity, under buccal cavity you have teeth, you have tongue, and you have the saliva. Now once that is done, the next part is your food pipe. Now food pipe is also called as esophagus. Okay, now there's a small difference between how you pronounce it and how you write the spelling. Make sure that you write the spelling correctly. It is not how you pronounce it. Okay, the spelling is Oesophagus. Okay, so now esophagus is a tube-like structure, okay, that connects the buccal cavity, that is your mouth, and your stomach, and it is 30 centimeter long. Okay, so your esophagus is 30 centimeter long, which connects the mouth and the stomach. So the food from the mouth goes to the stomach with the help of esophagus. Now, since it's a tube-like structure, there is a particular movement that happens in esophagus, which we will be discussing. So esophagus has a particular movement that pushes the food down to your stomach. Okay, and this movement is called as peristalsis. Okay, peristalsis. So the food is pushed down from the movement of your food pipe. Okay, this movement is called as peristalsis. Now, in case you can observe peristalsis, you can take a glass of water and drink it, or you can eat something and just touch your food pipe. You can feel a wavy movement in your food pipe, right? Or your esophagus, you can feel a wavy movement. So that wavy movement is because of the muscles that are present in the esophagus. It is because of the contraction of the muscles to help the food to push the food down into your stomach. So that movement is called as peristalsis. Clear? Moving ahead to the next part of your alimentary canal, which is your stomach. Now, stomach is a thick-walled bag-like structure which has a flattened U-like structure. Okay, so it is thick-walled. It is bag-like. Bag-like because if you eat a lot, it expands. If you don't eat, it, contracts. So that's why it's called like a bag, like a balloon. Okay, so stomach is thick-walled. It is a bag-like structure which has a flattened U shape. Okay, you can see the diagram. It has a U shaped. Okay, and it is the widest part of the alimentary canal. So alimentary canal is basically your digestive system. It starts from your mouth to the anus. Okay, that is excretion is by the rectum and then the anus. So that is why it's called as alimentary canal, because they are hollow. So it's called as alimentary canal. So stomach is the widest part of the alimentary canal. Is it clear? If you have any doubts, please do send me in the comment section. I will definitely consider reading them and I will sort or clear all your doubts. Okay. Now moving on. The stomach, let's learn about the functions of the stomach. Okay, now the stomach lining has mucus, okay, hydrochloric acid, and it produces digestive juices. Okay, so the inner lining of your stomach releases or secretes three things. Those are mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive system. Let's repeat it once again. The inner lining of your stomach has or secretes three things. One is your mucus, hydrochloric acid, and your digestive juices. Now, why do they secrete them? What are their functions? So, mucus protects the lining of your stomach. Why does your stomach lining need protection? It is because your stomach secretes hydrochloric acid. Now, what happens when you spill a little bit acid in your hand? Your skin starts burning. Yes or no? So now hydrochloric acid, the same hydrochloric acid is produced in your stomach. So that means the walls of your stomach, there are chances that your walls of the stomach will burn. Yes or no? To avoid this burning sensation, you have mucus. So mucus is like a protective layer that makes sure that the hydrochloric acid that is secreted does not damages or does not burns the lining of your stomach. Okay, so moving ahead, so the hydrochloric acid kills bacteria and provides an acidic medium. Yes or no? Because it's an acid. So producing a hydrochloric acid will create an acidic medium. So the food, when it gets mixed with the hydrochloric acid, what happens? The food will become acidic in nature. Okay, and it also kills bacteria. Any unwanted bacteria that are present in your stomach is killed by this hydrochloric acid. Okay, now coming to digestive juices. Now, why do we need this acidic medium for your food is because now protein digestion is happening by enzymes. So these enzymes will only work on the food if the food is acidic in nature. That is why you make your food acidic. Okay, I'll repeat it once again because it is an important point. Now the food is mixed with hydrochloric acid and the food is made acidic. Why? So that the protease enzyme, that is the enzyme that digests protein, can work on the food. This enzyme will not work on the food unless, or it will not break down proteins unless the food is acidic in nature. It has a lot of demands. So this protein degrading enzyme or the protein breaking enzyme has a lot of demand. He says that only if the food is acidic in nature, then only it will work. Then only it will work or it will break the protein. Okay. So because of this demand, the food is made acidic in nature by hydrochloric acid. Okay. Now moving on to digestive juices. That is the third and the last thing that is secreted by your stomach. Now, digestive juices have a mixture of enzymes. So these enzymes will break down protein into simpler substances. Okay. To be very specific, proteins are broken down into amino acids. Okay. AMINO, amino acids. Okay. So we discussed about carbohydrate breaking down. Carbohydrate is broken down in your mouth by an enzyme called as salivary amylase, which is present in saliva. Who produces saliva? It is your salivary glands that produces saliva. Okay, so carbohydrate breaking down or digestion is done. Then next come your stomach. In your esophagus, there is no digestion. Okay, there is no digestion process. Nothing is broken down in esophagus. Esophagus is only to push down the food. It just connects the mouth and the stomach. That's all. Okay, now digestive juices has proteases, that is enzymes that break down proteins. Okay, so they break down proteins into simpler substances. Moving ahead, let us now revise what we have discussed all this while. Question number 1, you can also answer these questions in a comment session so that I can get an idea on how you have, how much you have gained through the session. And also, if you have any doubts, you can send it as a comment. I am reading the comments and I will definitely clear your doubts. Okay. Now coming to what is peristalsis. Peristalsis is basically the wavy movement by the muscles of esophagus, which helps in pushing down the food through the esophagus to your stomach. Esophagus connects your mouth and your stomach. Okay. Now next question. What is another name for food pipe? The other name for food pipe is esophagus. Make sure you write the correct spelling because the way you pronounce it and the way you write the spelling is different. So make sure you get the correct spelling for esophagus. Now write the functions for esophagus. Esophagus is just connecting your mouth and your stomach. It is pushing food from your mouth to the stomach. There is no digestion happening in esophagus. Okay, moving on to the next question, which is what is stomach? Well, stomach is a bag-like structure, right? It is the widest part of the alimentary canal, right? And what are the functions of your stomach? Your stomach secretes three things. One is mucus, which is used for the protection of the lining of the stomach. The second thing that is secreted by your stomach is hydrochloric acid, which mixes with the food and creates an acidic medium. And also another function for hydrochloric acid, it kills all the unwanted bacteria. Okay. And the third thing that is secreted by your stomach is the digestive juices that has a mixture of proteases. So they break down protein into amino acids. I hope this is clear. If you have any doubts, please do send me a comment. I will definitely read it and clear your doubts. Okay. Moving ahead, coming to the next part of the alimentary canal, which is your small intestine. Okay, so this is your small intestine that you see here, and this yellow color thing is your large intestine. Okay, now small intestine, ideally the small intestine is a lot more longer than the large intestine, but still it is called small intestine because of the width. Okay, the small intestine width is small and the large intestine the width is large, hence they get their name small intestine and large intestine. Okay, now even though the small intestine is longer than the large intestine, they are coiled and they are kept inside the kept in your in between the large intestine. Okay, they are about 7.5 meter long. Just imagine, it's like 7.5 meter long thing is in your small intestine, in your near your stomach, under your stomach. Okay, so now the small intestine receives secretion from liver and pancreas. So liver and pancreas are organs that help in digestive process. How do they help? They just secrete a lot of enzymes. These enzymes will come and work in the food and digest the nutrients. Okay, that is the all function. Like your liver will secrete bile juice that will degrade or break down fats into fatty acids and glycerol, and your pancreas will secrete proteases that breaks down proteins into amino acids. Okay, now these are the functions of small intestine. Now moving on to liver, going a little more deep in learning about the liver. Now liver is a reddish brown gland. Okay, it is situated in the upper part of the abdomen. Okay, your abdomen, in the upper part, next a little bit in the right side, you have the liver. Okay, it is reddish brown in color. Yes, please do ask me doubt. Any doubts you can send me in the comment section. I'll be reading it. Go ahead and ask me the doubts. Someone just commented sending I have a doubt. You can send me the doubt. Okay, I'll clear it. Yeah. So moving ahead, yeah, liver is considered to be the largest gland in the body. Okay, it secretes bile juice, and this bile juice is stored in a sac-like structure called as gallbladder. Okay, and the bile juice helps in breakdown of fats into tiny droplets. Okay, so these big fat globules are broken down into small fat molecules, okay, like fatty acids and glycerol. This is the function of your bile juice. It breaks down big fat molecules into small fat molecules. Okay, yeah, okay, so we have a doubt. Why do herbivores have a larger intestine than carnivores? Okay, see, herbivores basically eats plants. Okay, they are plant eating animals are called as herbivores. Now, plants, they have cell wall. Okay, animals like carnivores eat animals, right? So these animals, they don't have cell wall. Now, plants, they have cell wall, and the cell wall is made up of a structure called as cellulose. Okay, it is made of a structure called as cellulose. Now, breaking down of cellulose is difficult because your cell wall is quite hard, right? So it is a little bit difficult to break down cellulose. Okay, that is why humans and animals, we cannot break down. Like carnivorous, we don't have the ability to break down cellulose because we don't have the enzyme to break down cellulose. The enzyme that is required to break down cellulose is called as cellulase. Okay, cellulose. Instead of writing loss, just write lase, A-S-E. Easier way to remember. Okay, so the enzyme that breaks down cellulose is called as cellulase. Okay, now we don't have cellulase, so we can't really break down these, cellulose. But herbivorous, they have cellulase, and it takes a longer time. Their digestive process is a little more longer. Okay, because they are breaking down cellulose. That is why they have a longer intestine as compared to carnivores. That is why herbivores have a longer intestine as compared to carnivores. I hope your doubt is clear. Any more doubts, you can send me in the comment section. I'll clear them. Okay. Moving ahead to the next gland, which is pancreas. Okay, pancreas are large and they are cream colored gland. Okay, they are located just below your stomach. And the pancreas secretes juices, and the pancreatic juice acts on carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and break them into simpler substances or simpler molecules. Okay, carbohydrates gets broken down into simple sugars like glucose. Fats are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol, and proteins are broken down into amino acids. That is a function of your pancreatic juice. Okay, the pancreatic juices are secreted by pancreas. That is a function of pancreas. Where is pancreas located? They are located under your stomach. And what is the color? It is cream in color. Okay. Moving ahead, let us revise, okay, what we have learned till now. And these questions that are noted down in your screen are quite important. They are repeatedly asked in your school exams as well. Okay, so you can go through them. What is the largest gland of your body? Can you tell me the largest gland? Any idea? You can send me in the comment section the answers. I'll wait for a minute. Anybody who knows the largest gland in your body? And also explain the process of digestion in stomach. Digestion in stomach secretes three things, which is mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive juices. Well, the largest gland in your body is liver. Okay, liver is the largest gland in your body. And what does your liver do? Liver will secrete bile juice that breaks down big fat molecules into smaller fat molecules. Okay, yes, correct, liver, very good. Now, write about your pancreas. Pancreas is large cream color gland. It is situated under your stomach. Okay, and it produces digestive juices which break down carbohydrates into glucose. Okay, it breaks down fats into fatty acids and glycerol, and it breaks down proteins into amino acids. So this is a function of pancreas. Now, what is the size of small intestine? Can anybody tell me the size of small intestine? How much meter long is it? How much meter long is your long? Yeah. Very good. Very good. Very good. Answer them. Tell me the size of your small intestine. It is about 6 to 7.5 meter long. Very good. Yes, it is 7.5 meter long. Moving ahead, what complex substance are broken down and in which substance they are broken down into? So we were discussing that breaking down. Digestion means breaking down of nutrients, But what is being broken down there? We already know carbohydrates is broken down into simple sugars such as glucose, lactose, fructose, etc. Your fats are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, and proteins are broken down into amino acids. Okay, shall we go ahead? Is there any doubt? Or can we go ahead? Okay, so moving ahead, absorption in small intestine. Now, the major function of your small intestine is to absorb the nutrients, because the site for complete digestion is small intestine. Okay, no more digestion is happening from your small intestine, then no more digestion happens. Okay, it complete digestion happens in small intestine. So now once these nutrients are broken down, what is the next function? It is to absorb it into the blood, right? The next function is to absorb these glucose, fatty acids, glycerol, amino acids, all these that has been digested needs to be absorbed by the blood, right? So that is the next function. So that is starts from your small intestine. And for this, the small intestine has a structure called as villi. Okay, so the inner walls of your small intestine has thousands of small finger-like projections. You can see here, it looks somewhat like this, like finger-like projections. This is how, if you are stuck inside your small intestine, this is how it looks. This is how your small intestine looks from the inside. Okay, so they have finger-like projections called as villi, and villi has a lot of blood vessels in them. Okay, so whatever passes through is being absorbed by these villis. Okay, and it goes into the blood. Now the main function is villi increase the surface area for absorption of food. Okay, so rather than food getting absorbed by the walls, if there is finger-like projections, now food can get absorbed here. Now imagine this surface. Okay, this is your small intestine wall of the small intestine from the inside. Okay, so instead of, if food is getting absorbed here, the surface area is less. Now imagine this is a finger-like projection, that is the villi. Okay, this is a villi. So now the food can get absorbed here, it can get here, it can get here, here, right? All these places it can get absorbed. But if there was no villi, it can only get absorbed here. So it increases the surface area, right? Here and here, now the surface area is increased. Yes or no? So it increases the surface area for absorption. That is the main function of villi. Moving ahead to the next part of the alimentary canal, which is your large intestine. Okay, now large intestine is wider than small intestine, but lengthwise it is shorter than the small intestine. This yellow tube-like structure that you can see is your large intestine, and this violet structure of over here is your small intestine. Okay, so now your large intestine is about 1.5 meter long. Okay, see the difference. Their small intestine is about 7.5 meter long and your large intestine is only 1.5 meter long. Okay, now what is the main function of the small intestine? Is to absorb water. Okay, so what is the function of large intestine? It is to absorb water and some salts. Okay, necessary salts from the undigested food material. That is all the food that is going out of the body. Right now, from after large intestine, it is your rectum and anus. After that, it is getting excreted out. So in case if there is any water or salt in the food, finally just for a quick absorption, your large intestine works. Absorption basically starts from small intestine, but if there is any left out water and salt, it is absorbed by your large intestine. Okay. So moving ahead, waste from large intestine passes into the rectum and then remains there as a semi-solid feces. Okay, feces is what? The excreted, the material that is excreted out is called as feces. Okay, so the fecal material is removed through the anus from time to time, right? From time to time, all the unwanted waste, food waste is removed from the anus. So all these undigested food goes to the rectum and from there to anus and then out of your body. Okay, so this process is called as digestion. Okay, ingestion is taking in of food from your mouth is ingestion. Ingestion is ingestion, taking food through your mouth. Ingestion is removing this waste from your anus. Okay, that is called as ingestion. Now, moving ahead, some important questions. Now, explain digestion in food. So, these are questions that are often asked in your school exams as well. Anybody can answer them in the comment section. It would be really good to know if anyone can answer these questions in the comment section. I'm reading the comment section. You can quickly answer them. I'll wait for a minute so that you can answer them. These are important questions from the chapter Nutrition in Animals, okay? They are often asked in your school syllabus as well. I'll wait for a minute so that you have time to type, okay? So go ahead. Now, explain digestion in food is a huge question. You don't have to, type the entire thing, okay? Just write down the parts, your mouth, then what comes, then what comes. Okay, now why the large intestine is shorter and wider in size than the small intestine? Can anybody answer that question? Next question is write a short note on large intestine. You can just tell me in comment section what is the size of your large intestine and what is the main function of your large intestine. Anybody who can tell me the size and the function of large intestine in the comment section? Anybody? I'll just wait for a minute so that you have time to type. Anybody can answer the fourth question also. Go ahead. Define absorption and assimilation. And also the next question, does bile juice digest fat completely? Go ahead and answer them. Why is the large intestine shorter and wider than the small intestine? Can anybody answer them? Yeah, actually the large intestine is 1.5 meter long. Okay, large intestine is 1.5 meter long. You can make a note of it. The small intestine is 7.5 meter long. Okay, what is the function of large intestine? Can anybody tell me what is the function of large intestine? Anybody? Go ahead. Oh, ma'am, there are some animals which don't have stomach. Well, fishes don't have stomach. Some fishes do not have stomach. Uh, and also, yes, there are. Like you have monotermous organisms do not have stomach. Okay, some egg-laying mammals do not have stomach. Yeah, there are animals that do not have stomach. Yeah, go ahead. Please type the answers. Yes, correct. Very good, very good. Yes, your large intestine, the main function is apart from throwing out food, the other function is to absorb water and salts. Okay, your large intestine absorbs water and salt. Can anybody tell me why do we have a large, wider and a shorter large intestine than your small intestine? That is basically because your large intestine, they only have the function of absorption, right? Digestion not really happens in your large intestine, so that is why they are shorter. Okay, your small intestine digestion and absorption is happening, that's why they are long, so that as the food is passing through all this 7.5-meter long tube, more and more can be absorbed and digested. That is why uh, your large intestine is shorter as compared to the small intestine. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Can anybody tell me, does bile juice digest the fat completely? Can anybody tell me? Anybody? Okay, then how do they digest? As in the animals that do not have stomach, how do they digest? Is that the question? See, we have stomach. Why? Just to produce mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive juices, right? The animals that do not have stomach, their body is made in such a way that they can, produce. They have genes that produce, enzymes that digest food. Okay, getting it? So basically these animals that lack stomach, they have genes to produce enzymes like acid rich zones. Basically your stomach function is what? They make an acidic nature and they digest the food, right? So now if you don't have stomach, you don't have an acidic nature and you cannot digest the food, because the enzymes will work only if the food is acidic in nature. So those who do not have stomach, they have genes that will produce acid rich zones, so the food will get mixed with them and digestion will happen. Okay. Anyone else? Any question? Uh, yes, actually, yes. I am getting the comments a bit late than you are typing it. There is a small lag. This is how it works, unfortunately. Okay, so that is why there is a small lag, because I need to wait a lot more time than after you are sending it. You're right. Okay, so can we go ahead? Yeah, the last question. Now, bile juice digests fat completely. The answer is no. The bile juice will only break down big fat molecules into small fat molecules. That's all. Then you have pancreatic juices that will break down these small fat molecules into fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, fine. So, moving ahead, have you observed how cows buffaloes, and other grass-eating animals chewing continuously even when they are not eating. You must have always seen a cow, right? Always it is chewing. Whenever it is sitting, simply it is chewing. That is the favorite job or the hobby of cows. They go sit somewhere and they keep on chewing, right? So what is that? Even when they are not eating, what is that they are chewing? They are actually chewing cud. That is, they eat fully and the food goes down, and then when they are simply sitting, it comes back and they start chewing it further so that the food is digested further. Okay. But if stomach is not there, what's use of producing the enzyme? They have a different, totally a different mechanism. Okay. Now, digestion is the stomach plays a small role in the process of digestion. Yes or no? So now, if they are not having a stomach, they have another procedure for digestion, like amoeba. Amoeba does not have a stomach. In today's live session, we will also be discussing about the digestion in amoeba, so that you will get a more better idea, because they don't have stomach, right? We will discuss how animals without stomach also digest food. We will discuss that in today's live. Okay. Now, yeah, so talking about cows, now cows comes under the category of ruminants. Okay, so ruminants, what do? They swallow the grass quickly. So they eat grass, right? They eat grass and plants. So first they will swallow that. They will store it in rumen. Rumen is a part of their stomach. Okay, they will store it in rumen, and then the food will get partially digested. That partially means not fully. Okay, partially the food will get digested, and this partially digested food is called as cud. Okay, partially digested food is called as cud. Now this cud later enters into the mouth back. They come back into the mouth as small lumps, and the animal continues chewing it. Okay. Okay, now moving ahead, why these animals cannot chew food properly at the time they take in? That is because they have cellulose. We discussed, someone asked me that doubt earlier, right? See, that is the same thing that we are discussing here again. Cellulose is present in plants. Okay, so they are a little more difficult to digest. Okay, so the cellulose of the food is digested in the rumen by the action of certain bacteria which are not present in humans. So these bacteria that produce cellulase and all are not present in humans. Okay, so that is why the cellulose of the food, okay, it is quite difficult to digest. Okay, it's a little bit hard and it's difficult to digest. So the food, the cellulose containing food is digested in the rumen by the action of bacteria which are not present in humans. Okay, so that is why they bring it back, because the digestion is difficult. Cellulose digestion is difficult, so that is why they bring it back, and they again continuously chew it so that it is digested well. Okay, moving moving to feeding and digestion in amoeba, okay, which is the last topic we are going to be learning today. Now, amoeba do not have a particular shape. Okay, they continuously keep changing their shape. Okay, and as they see the food, this amoeba, like you can see now in your screen, it is continuously moving, right? So like that, they will move and they'll go near the food. Okay, when they see the food, what happens? Two hand-like structure will come out of the body of amoeba. This hand-like structures are called as pseudopodia. Okay, so these false hands, okay, they're not actual hands, they're false hands. So these false hands comes out of amoeba, and they grab the food and they take it into their body. Okay, and then where does this food go? They go into the food vacuole. So inside the food vacuole, you have enzymes that will digest this food that is taken in. Okay, a food vacuole basically will produce a lot of enzyme that will digest this food. Okay, and what is not required is again thrown out of the body, and what is required is utilized by the body. Okay, so this is how the digestion of amoeba works. I hope that is clear. Okay, so moving ahead to certain questions. If you know the answers, you can send it in the comment section. Okay, now write the similarity and differences between nutrition in amoeba and humans. So these are important questions that are also asked in your school syllabus as well. Okay, so now coming to the first question, similarities and differences between amoeba and human nutrition. Main similarities are both are heterotrophic, right? They are not autotrophic. They don't synthesize their own food. They depend on other organisms for their food. That is the similarity between amoeba and humans. Now, what is the difference? What is the difference? Humans have a proper alimentary canal for the digestion of food, right? You have mouth, you have esophagus, you have stomach, large intestine, small intestine, rectum, anus, all that. But amoeba does not have all this. They just have a food vacuole that will produce enzymes to break down the food. Moving on to the second question, can we survive only on raw leafy vegetables and grass? So if I give you only grass to eat, will you survive? No, you cannot survive. Why? Because grass contains cellulose. Leafy vegetables contain cellulose. We don't have the ability to digest cellulose, right? So we cannot survive only on grass and vegetables. Moving on to the next question, write a short note on nutrition in ruminants. You need to explain and write about the animal, like basically the four chart that I showed you. This you can just write down this and explain. Okay, how ruminants, they first swallow the food. The food is then stored in rumen as cud, right? As in it is they go the food goes to rumen, and in the rumen it is partially digested. Okay, this partially digested food is called as cud, and then this comes back to the mouth and they continue chewing whenever they are sitting simply. Okay, you can explain all that. Next question, explain the process of nutrition in amoeba with a labeled diagram. So this is the diagram that you will draw. Like you will draw two diagrams, one amoeba, then seeing a food, then pseudopodia coming and covering the food, and then make sure that you draw the food vacuole. Okay, and the food vacuole, and then you can explain that the food vacuole produces enzymes that will digest the food, and then it is utilized, and the undigested food is again thrown out of the body. Okay, so coming to the next question, what are villi? What is their location and function? So basically villis are present where? Where are villis present? Anybody? Anybody, where is villi present? Villis are present in your small intestine and also your large intestine. What are the function? They increase the surface area of digestion. They have blood vessels, and they sorry, not surface area of digestion, surface area of absorption. I said that wrong. Okay, so villis increases the surface area for absorption. They have blood vessels that will absorb nutrients from the food. Okay, now moving on to the next question, where is bile produced? Which component of food does it help to digest? Bile is produced by the largest organ of your largest gland of your body, which is your liver. Okay, and it helps in digesting or breaking down of big fat molecules into smaller fat molecules. Okay, so these big fat globules are broken down into smaller fat globules by your bile. Now moving on to the next question, name the type of carbohydrate that can be digested by ruminants but not by humans. Anyone? Anyone? The answer is cellulose. Okay, cellulose cannot be digested by humans, but ruminants, that is your grass eating animals, can digest it. Why? Why? Because we don't have the enzyme, neither do we have the bacteria that helps in digesting cellulose. Okay, moving on to the next question, the last important question. Why do we get instant energy from glucose? Now, that is because the first thing that gets digested whenever you eat food, the first thing that gets digested in your mouth is your carbohydrates. They break down carbohydrates into glucose by your saliva. That happens in the mouth. Okay, protein and all digestion starts from your stomach. Protein and fats and all starts in your small intestine and your stomach, right? So the first thing to digest is your carbohydrates into glucose. That is why we get instant energy as soon as you eat them, and it is, the salivary amylase acts on it, you get the energy. That is why glucose is considered to give you instant energy. So a quick revision of what we learned today. Okay, we learned nutrition in animals. Okay, we learned the process. Okay, the how conversion of nutrients happens. Like we learned carbohydrates is converted into glucose, proteins are converted into amino acids, fats are converted into fatty acids and glycerol. Then that's all about the human digestion. We also learned about the digestive process, right? Your mouth, esophagus, stomach, large intestine, small intestine, rectum, anus, and all their functions. Then we learned about the digestion in amoeba. We learned about pseudopodia. We learned that amoeba digests food in a food vacuole. Okay, then we learned digestion in grass eating animals, that is ruminants. Why are they called ruminants? Because they have rumen, which is a part of the stomach. Okay, now we learned that food that these ruminant eat, they are stored in rumen and partially digested in rumen to form cud. Okay, and then this cud later comes back to the mouth and they continue chewing. Now, coming to nutrition in animals, in humans, we learned about alimentary canal. We learned the parts of the alimentary canal. It starts from the buccal cavity to the anus. So you have buccal cavity where carbohydrates are digested by saliva. Then you have esophagus, okay, where no digestion happens, but we learned about peristalsis there, right, which is the wavy movement of the esophagus to push down food into the stomach. Then we learned about stomach. It secretes three things: mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive juices. You can go back if you have any doubt, you can go back and check those slides. Then we learned about small intestine, then the large intestine, right? We learned about villi. We learned that small intestines are the complete digestion site for complete digestion. You learned about villis, you learned about absorption. Then the undigested food goes to the large intestine. Large intestine absorbs water and salt. Then the food goes and stores in the rectum. And then time to time it is excreted out from the anus, which is called as egestion. Egestion. Okay, so this is all that we learned today. We have covered digestion in humans. We have covered digestion in grass eating animals, that is ruminants. We also covered the digestion in amoeba. Okay, so this is all for today. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can send it in the comment section. Also, if you have any particular topic that you want help from, you can, you want any live session on a particular topic, you can send that topic in the comment section also. We'll definitely go through the comments and consider teaching them in any live. Also, we do take personal we do handle personal requests as well. Like if you want personalized classes, you can go to our website and book classes. There are a lot of free trial classes as well. So the website is www.swiflearn.com. You can see that below in the screen. Okay, and also if you want to write to us, you can go to support@swiflearn.com. If you want to get connected to us on call or WhatsApp, there are numbers given down. You can do that as well. Okay, so this is all for today's class. I hope you all enjoyed as much as I enjoyed teaching you all. Thank you all and see you again in the next live class. Okay.